Hello, I'm Beth Perrick, president of the Golden Rain Foundation of Laguna Woods Village and founder of the village's Thrive Task Force. Thrive aims to inspire all to thrive and enjoy in every chapter of our lives. Today, with the help of the Camera Club, the Video Club, and the Village Management Services Recreation Department, I'd like you to meet some inspiring residents, our centenarians. Believe it or not, among the 18,000 seniors in our community, we have 76 who are 100 years of age and older. The entire team who worked on this project noted similar qualities in the people interviewed. They demonstrated resilience in dealing with life's ups and downs. They were able to persist and persevere throughout their lives. The Village Centenarian Project has taken portraits of 16 centenarians matched with photos of them taken when they were young. We've tried to show how people change and yet mysteriously stay the same. Our work is based on a similar project carried out by photographer Jan Langer of the Czech Republic, but we've added another dimension: video interviews. Now, as you meet these seniors in 3 1.5-hour broadcasts, I invite you to look for the resilience and adaptability that seem to characterize many of their lives.
And Harriet has just turned 100 years old. Hi, Harriet, welcome.
Hi.
And I think I have to lead with the fact that you had how many children?
7, 1 boy and 6 girls.
And I'll bet every time you came home from the hospital, your son came running up to you saying,
Yeah.
"Is it a boy?"
Yeah, why can't I have a brother?
Well, that's spectacular. And please tell us about your early work experience.
Well, yes, I was a Navy nurse stationed in Great Lakes at first, and then transferred to Corona, California. That's how I got acquainted with California. Fell in love with California.
You did.
Because of the weather. And this is where I met my husband, actually at the Biltmore Hotel on weekend leave.
Well, that's amazing. And you lived in, at some part of your life, you lived in Dana Point for a while, didn't you?
Oh yes, we lived there for we lived there for 25 years. He got a job at Boeing in California, so that's where we went. We shopped around before we found Dana Point. It's just, he called it a little bit of heaven. So.
And you said that afforded you some opportunity to be active and water sports and be physically active.
I wasn't. He was the one.
Yes. Where were some of the places that you traveled on your cruises?
Oh, well, we went to Alaska twice, which he absolutely loved. He did a land trip in Alaska. Oh. I didn't. I stayed on the ship with one of my daughters. But, and then we went to the Panama Canal.
And through the canal?
We went through the canal.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. It was fun. And we did that for about 10 years, and then we said, okay, that's enough of that. We're going to do something else. So we enjoyed Laguna Woods.
Yes.
I mean, we enjoyed the clubs. We belonged to several of the clubs, Chicago Club, New York Club, and we developed, we met a lot of nice people, yes. Very nice people.
Different groups of people and new friends, so it really helps as you're moving forward in your life, so that's wonderful. And your children, now I understand that they became teachers, most of them?
Yes, I was a nurse, and none of them decided to get into medicine. My son was an electrician, and the girls went into teaching.
And then their children, how many grandchildren do you have?
Well, I hate to say it. We have seven children and 7 grandchildren.
Is that right?
And we have like 4 great-grandchildren.
You told me, I was asking about some of the activities that you have, and you said, what do you do first thing in the morning?
The first thing in the morning, I do the crossword puzzle. It wakes up my brain, I guess.
Oh, I'm sure it does.
But you know, I do the kind that has the answers in the back. I didn't used to do that, but it's getting that way.
I do too. Well, full disclosure,
No,
I do too.
I just check myself, make sure I have the right answer.
Yes, sure.
You know, some of those words I've never heard of.
Exactly.
I mean, they're really...
Well, you know, it sounds like you're very active in your thinking about things and keeping up with everything. And physically, do you walk? Can you walk a little bit? Or
I can with a cane. I
Yep.
walk around the house.
Yep.
I use the wheelchair because I have this fear of falling and breaking a hip, and I have a bad left hip.
Yeah.
And so I'm not steady. You know, I did have one fall. That was enough. Round.
But you get your steps in, right?
I get my steps in. I try to take a walk in the neighborhood, and I've had my share of ups and downs, as we all have. You know,
Yes.
illnesses and so. But I seem to get over them, though.
Yes.
I don't know. Somebody up there is watching over me.
Oh, I think you have a lot of resiliency. I think it comes out in all of the things that you just shared with us. Thank you very much, Harriet.
you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too.
Today we're very, very excited because we're going to be meeting Irv Pitkin. Irv is an exceptional man in many ways, not the least of which is that he is 110 years old. Did you see Jackie Robinson play, Irv?
Yes, I spoke to Jackie Robinson. It had a ruptured appendix and was recovering. Luckily, he came out of it quite satisfactorily. And I'm not sure if he's still alive, but he was a very loved manager and a very good one. I wondered why they gave me a hot chocolate and with the hot chocolate a Viagra. Well, the hot chocolate is to help you sleep soundly, and the Viagra to prevent you from rolling off the bed.
You're a bad boy, Irv.
Welcome, Margaret.
Thank you.
And do you want to tell us how old you are?
100 and almost 1 month.
Wow. Is it hard to believe?
Yes, I'm still trying to believe it.
It's a milestone, right? Yeah.
So they tell me.
And you're from Gary, Indiana.
Well, that's where I was born.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Well, I remained in Indiana until I finished college.
And you got your bachelor's degree in sociology.
Sociology at the University of Indiana, right.
Right. And then what?
Then I went to graduate school and I got married my first year of graduate school.
And had children and were very obviously busy, and yet you went back and got your master's.
Right.
That couldn't have been easy.
No, it wasn't easy, master's
And how
degree.
did you handle that?
Well, I waited till my older child was in kindergarten and my younger child was 4. And then I got a teenager to take care of the 4-year-old.
Oh.
Well, I went back, took classes on a part-time basis.
And what about women? Women were in the minority in colleges at that
Not
time.
in social work.
Oh, really? Oh, yes. Mostly women in social work.
Right, there were mostly women in social
Yeah.
work, right.
So then did you get a job right away after your master's?
Well, I worked part-time in the University of Chicago clinics, and then I went into private practice and started working in that way. And
Did you have a specialty in social work?
Well, when I went to work full-time in Chicago for a
for a secular agency. It was a family practice.
So then you worked with the whole family?
We did individual, marital counseling, group counseling, family therapy, the whole range of family work.
You know, I sometimes wonder, was it hard not to take the problems home with you?
Well, it was in some ways, yeah. But I moved from doing direct practice into administration.
Oh, and you didn't work directly with...
I supervised and administered and created programs,
Oh.
that kind of thing. I carried a minimal amount of cases.
And then, after 26 years, you retired. Well, what was retirement like?
Well, when you move into the village, into Leisure World, retirement is paradise.
Tell us about your time in Laguna Woods.
Well, I moved here because I was seduced by the ceramic studio.
Uh-huh.
And so I spent a major portion of my time working in clay, hand building and sculpture, that kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
So that was paradise.
Yes.
I worked from 9 in the morning until they closed the doors.
Oh, my goodness.
So when people came in at 9 in the morning, they accused me of having slept there overnight.
All right.
That was my major activity for the first number of years.
Now, what did you do with all the things you made? I mean, you could only have so many in your home.
Yes, I'm overwhelmed by it.
Did you give them as gifts or sell them? Or
I sold a number of them and gave a number of them away as gifts. And at this point, I'm looking forward to getting rid of a lot of them. So I'm having friends and relatives put little tapes underneath or behind to tell me what they want
Good
to
idea.
inherit.
You were obviously very talented if you were able to sell the things you made.
Well, I don't know that that's a measure of talent.
But isn't that a thrill? I mean, to make something and people want to buy it?
Right.
Right. Well, so tell us, now I know you're active. I went to a concerned meeting the other night, and that's where I met you sitting at the table collecting money.
Right, yeah. Well, I've been president of Concerned Citizens twice, and I've started volunteering for them when I moved here. So I volunteered for a number of years, and then I became an official. So for the past 15 years or so, I have been one official in one way or another.
President. Now, that's a big job. Was that very time-consuming?
It was.
Yeah. And what year did you move here?
I moved in here in '86.
So you've seen a lot of changes.
I retired in '85.
So what are some of the changes you've seen?
When I moved here, there was a special election for a judge, and I went down to Clubhouse 1 and asked for a Democratic ballot, and everybody in the group room froze and looked at me as if I had just come down from Mars.
Oh.
So that was the political climate at the time.
Uh-huh.
And at this point, I think it's kind of even with same number of Republicans registered as Democrats. Yeah.
And so now what other activities are you in now?
At this point,
Yeah.
I can't say outside of the Democratic Club and Concerned Citizens that I have stopped taking a number of classes. I was taking a lot of classes.
Oh, were you? Which is
my mobility at this point is limited, and my vision is limited.
Oh, okay.
So you don't get to be 90 without paying prices. Having certain kinds of disabilities come in. So that's the state of where I am at this point.
Yeah, but
So I'm doing a lot of reading and working on the computer.
what would you tell your younger self if because you've lived a long and varied life?
Well, that's a very good question. I don't know that I would have had anything wise to tell my younger self.
Maybe you were wise back then, too.
Oh, I don't know that I was wise back then. I have the same values at this point that I had when I was younger. You learn your values in your family, and so my values haven't changed. Maybe, as Biden says, maybe I have to learn how to adapt them to the current situation.
Yeah, yeah.
But they remain the same.
Yeah, yeah. What gives you joy in your life right now?
Well, going to a good exhibit in the museum gives me a lot of joy. Learning gives me joy.
Yes.
Finding new information that I had not had before, getting new insights
Yes.
into various things give me a kind of a real upper kind of feeling. But beyond that, I'm not looking for joy per se. I don't chase it. In other words.
But you seem very content. You
I
seem
am,
very content.
right.
And learning is so important, isn't it?
Right.
Keeps us
I
young.
keep learning.
Yeah, I
Right.
can tell. Well, thank you for visiting with
Well,
us.
thank you for asking.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, and I understand that you are the age of 101. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yep. And you're a Nebraska-born lady.
That's true.
When you moved to California, you were working in airplane parts, aviation parts. right?
Yes.
Yes. Well, that's exciting. Did you like that work?
Yes, did office work.
You vacationed, I guess, and you lived in various places too, not just California.
That's right.
Where did you live?
We even went to Hawaii, and my sister and I, and played golf.
Oh, that's the best.
Yes.
That's the best.
But Mexico, went a lot of different places to play golf.
So that was
Down
kind
through the years.
right. So did that drive your travel destination? Is like, where's a good golf game I can find?
Well, do I take my clubs or don't I?
Yeah.
Depends.
Yes.
Yes.
And you play bridge.
Yes.
Yeah. And
For fun.
for fun. Okay. Well, see, because I hear a lot of people don't
Well,
play
we
for
make
fun.
we might do a little betting sometimes.
Okay. And you've been active here, and you still are, too. You said you go out for some walks, which is, the best thing you could be doing, too.
Yes.
Yeah. Walking is so healthy and so good. And it gets you out of the house.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love to go shopping.
Do you?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
At this point, what are some of the things that
Well,
you enjoy?
at this time in my life, I cannot play golf anymore, and I cannot play bridge because of my eyes. So there's not a lot I can do,
Right.
but I do walk, and I can still see some TV.
Your wonderful long life and how you're enjoying yourself, and you're an inspiration for, I think, a large family, saying, look how Grandma's doing it, or look how Aunt Jeanette is doing it. It's wonderful.
Well, maybe, maybe.
Yeah, I think you're thinking this isn't such a big deal, aren't you?
It isn't such a big deal.
Well, it is to us, and we're really happy to celebrate you and learn more about your life and the things that you enjoy doing and have done in your life. And it's really a pleasure to speak with you.
And we are so happy to have with us today Shirley Shannon. Welcome, Shirley.
Thank you.
And you just had a very important birthday.
Yes, I did. I just became 100.
Isn't that hard to believe?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Well, we just keep living until we're ready.
That's right. Yes, that's
We
right.
have to do that.
Stone. And what an interesting life you've had. You're from New Jersey,
Right.
and you went to commercial school after you graduated.
Yes.
And then tell us what you did with the Army. You were one of the first 50 women to
Yes.
join.
That's right.
Wow.
And they put me with the 1st Fighter Command, in Mitchell Field.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was with all the Flyers.
Oh my goodness. And you met somebody very important, Eleanor Roosevelt.
Well, she used to come around when the boys came back from Solano, and she would say, "Did you write home? Did you write your mother?" And then they would say, "Yes." And if some said no, she had some gentlemen with her who were Secret Service, I assume. And she would say, "Take the boy's address down." Well, she wrote everyone a little note.
Oh my goodness.
Yes,
Wow.
she did. She was really a bright woman.
Oh, she was.
Yes.
So you met her. You actually
yes.
talked to her.
Yes.
And so what did being in the entourage involve? Did you drive her around?
No,
or
I
just...
didn't. I just had to show her and show the people that came with her, to show them where the boys were that can talk. Some of them couldn't speak. Some of them were bad. We didn't take her where they were badly injured.
Yes.
See?
Yeah.
So we took her there, and she is just I should say, a charming
Was
woman.
she?
Yes,
Oh.
yes, she was.
What a thrill to meet her.
Yes.
And then tell us about your recruiting. You recruited for the Army.
Yes, I did, only for nursing.
Right, right.
I worked first for General Barkis, and that was in the Adjutant General's department. That gets very involved.
Yeah.
But then when they went overseas, the boys, to see China, Burma, India then, they asked me to recruit at the universities, Rochester, Syracuse, Buffalo, and pick up the girls who were nursing.
And they needed nurses.
And oh, definitely, it was after that invasion that they were short. They even took the Army girls and the Navy girls, anyone that can help in the hospital then. It was we were really shorthanded.
And then after your recruiting, I understand that 500 nurses signed up. You
Yes,
recruited 500.
and on the East Coast, that was a good month for us. We hit
Yes.
500.
You must have been a great recruiter.
Well, not only, I wasn't alone.
Yeah.
You know, we put up and we showed them the invasion. Once you saw it, they joined.
Yes. And then you had an experience meeting one of your recruits years
Yes,
later.
that was when I was invited to Washington. That time they put up the Women's Wall because women who were killed in the service, we didn't have one. So they put up the wall, and they had the nurses there, and they had the Gold Star mothers, everything. And then this nurse comes over to me and she says, "You recruited me." And I looked at her and I said, "Yes, I believe I did." But I says, "You're a general now."
You've had such an interesting life. You were at the summit with de Gaulle and
Right,
Churchill
yes.
and Roosevelt.
That was in the
Quebec.
Chateau Frontenac in
Yeah.
Quebec.
Oh,
Because
okay.
they had to tell you when to come in, and they were there.
Oh,
And if you ever met Churchill, you'll never forget him.
really?
He is so charming and so funny and so abrupt.
Oh, really? And then you married after the Army? Or
Yes.
were you still in the Army when you met your
I
husband?
met my husband while I was in the Army, but he was Navy.
Oh, okay.
So that says hello for the Navy boys. But he was on the medical ship, the Mercy ship.
Uh-huh.
You know, where they got the
Oh,
fellas.
right. And he was he helped invent it, wasn't he? one
Well,
of
he
two?
wrote a book with Dr. Lenny Linkoff that time, and the two of them wrote the book on implants, yes.
Oh, my. He was obviously very outstanding.
Yes, he was,
Yeah.
because we traveled after our family was grown, and my son went to dental school.
Oh.
My daughter went to a hygienist, and then he got a call to do lecturing.
Oh.
And we lectured for about, I'd say 15 years.
Oh, and that's why, and you went around Europe and
Yes,
traveled.
we were in England, Germany,
Oh,
and Australia, New Zealand, Japan. They all knew Mortimer Shannon.
I guess.
Yes,
Oh, wow.
yes. We had an interesting life.
You did, and now you are in California.
Loved it here. We were only going to stay for a short while, and we never went home.
I love California. I'm not from
Yes.
California either, but this climate, no, who wouldn't love
Yes.
it? Wow.
I guess it was good if I'm still here at 100.
Absolutely. Now, what would you tell someone that's 21 years old? What piece of advice would you give them?
I don't know if you can tell anyone at 21 what to do.
That's true. That's
And
true.
because I have grandchildren, and God bless them, I never tell them what to do.
Well,
Because they'll ask me, what do you think? And if I had anyone that would say to me, what do you think? I'd give my opinion.
yes, yes.
But half of the time, they don't listen.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't. So
What would you tell your younger self?
my younger self, I would tell myself truthfully, if you're interested in doing something, do it.
Oh,
Because if you don't do it, honey, you're going to regret it.
yeah, yeah.
And that's the only thing. If they want to be something else, don't make them be anything but what they want to do.
Yes, yes.
It's just one of those things that I felt that if you don't do it, you're missing something in life.
I love that. Yes.
See, you do it, and if it don't work out, you tried.
Yeah. And look what you've done. I mean, joining the Army and
I did everything I wanted to do. Only one thing I can't do now that I still love to do is I paint.
oh,
And I love to paint, but I
yeah.
can't use this one hand.
But you're obviously active. You're still
Oh,
active.
no,
and-
not anymore. All I do is read.
but reading is
I
wonderful,
read.
isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
And there's some great authors
oh,
out
I
there
know,
right
I
now.
know. And you have a wonderful family.
Yes,
And
I
that's
do.
a blessing too. Yeah.
That is. I'm very proud of all of my children, my grandchildren, and my great-grandchildren.
Isn't that fun?
Yes.
Well, you have been a delight. Thank you so much for visiting with
Well,
us.
it was very nice of you to ask me. Thank you for asking.
Thank you.